I think people really need to get into this mindset of like, okay, if I'm taking something every single day, I want it to be the highest quality rather than me like, experimenting with random supplements. Just upgrade your staples. Don't change what you're eating whatsoever. Just change when you eat. That's all I'm asking you to do.
For people who are trying to lose weight, I'd say it's probably one of the easiest hacks that they just
100%.
don't consider. Creatine, worth it or overhyped?
Definitely hyped at the moment, but I think it's worth the hype. I'm in the business of like protecting my heart. That was my origin story, right? Like I had a heart condition, hence why I'm doing everything to support my heart.
What's the most overrated piece of health advice?
I think it's like,
if you play your cards right and you do stuff like this, there's no reason we shouldn't have another 40 years left being really fit and being able to still climb mountains.
Absolutely.
Hi everyone, welcome to Modern Rituals, a new podcast brought to you by Exhale, where we uncover the daily habits, routines and rituals that build extraordinary lives. I'm your host, Alex Hyam, and I'm the co-founder at Exhale. Today I'm talking to Dr Rupy, founder of The Doctor's Kitchen. Rupy is a food as medicine advocate. He's an NHS medical doctor who's also qualified in nutrition. He's had a series on Channel 4 on healthy eating and is often seen on ITV's This Morning. But more than that, he's actually the Chief Science Officer at Exhale. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please hit subscribe and let's get this podcast off to a flying start. Rupy, ice bath or sauna if you could do only one?
100% sauna.
Okay. Alcohol or no alcohol?
That's a tough one. Probably no alcohol because that's the majority of my month. So yeah, no alcohol.
Creatine, worth it or overhyped?
Really worth it. Definitely hyped at the moment, but I think it's worth the hype.
Okay. What's more important, your morning routine or your bedtime routine?
I should say my bedtime routine because that's probably what needs the most attention. But currently, it's my morning routine.
And finally, what's everybody getting wrong about breakfast?
I think people have this idea that breakfast should be a sweet occasion, something that's convenient. And I think we need to lean into savory breakfast and skipping breakfast the odd day as well.
Skipping it, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, we'll come back to that. So, Rupy, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, man.
So, unlike other podcasts you've been on, where you give loads of wonderful nutritional advice, this isn't about offering advice for what other people should be doing. This is about discovering what you actually do.
Right.
So, I guess the best place to start is with your mornings, start of the day. So, what time do you wake up in the morning?
So my morning routine, man, has changed a lot. As you know, I've got a 1-year-old now. So my morning routine has changed drastically. I used to be one of those annoying 5 a.m. Up at crack of dawn, have my alarm, and then I'll get up and I'll do my like meditation and supplement routine, all that kind of stuff, like religiously every single day, then go into my workout. And now, because I'm trying to play catch up at the end of the day, I'm not going to sleep early enough to wake up early with enough sleep to actually enable me to do my general morning routine. So right now, if I'm speaking honestly, I'd be lucky if I get up at 5:45, 6 a.m. But generally, if I look at my aura, it's like 6:30 a.m. average.
5:45, 6 is still pretty early. 6:30 is still early.
For me, it's like a massive. It's been a massive shift because I'm like one of those annoying early risers. It's just natural for me. I don't know what it's like for you, but like, do you naturally get up early in the morning or?
Yeah, I mean, it took a while. It was when I trained for the Ironman that I forced myself and did all of my training first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And it really felt like I was forcing it initially.
Yeah.
But then after about a year of that training, I just got into this routine and I was like, well, I may as well keep it going because I've managed to squeeze an extra 2 hours into the day.
Totally.
So,
yeah.
But I guess that's, it's a really good point you make that just keep it flexible.
Yeah.
And like my morning routine initially was after the training, it was 2 hours of just me time, which I really needed when I launched the business, when I had a baby. But then after a while, it was, now I actually find it quite useful to start the morning with about 45 minutes of work, just checking all of the numbers from the previous day, and just checking, just like a business hygiene check.
Yeah. What you said there, so I just want to highlight that point because that really resonates with me. When I started waking up early in the morning, which is quite easy for me to do. It wasn't because I was stressing about like, oh, I've got to get up at 5 a.m. to like, because I need to aspire to be this sort of person. It was more for me time. So I realized I could squeeze an extra hour and a half out my day because I was still working full time as a medical doctor when I started the Doctor's Kitchen 10 years ago. And I realized, oh, I can do another hour and a half's work, meditation, exercise, and still have plenty of time during my day where I can smash out extra productive. So it's more of a productivity hack for me rather than like a wellness routine. But now it's more like a wellness routine.
So when you wake up, do you have water? Do you smash a double espresso immediately, or do you like what's the first thing you reach for?
So I'll walk you through it step by step.
Go on.
So if I've got up and it's a good day and I've got up at 5:30, 5:45, I went to bed early enough the night before to warrant that early wake up call, I'll go straight and down water pretty much. It's lukewarm water. I just prefer that. I don't think there's any evidence of like clear digestive benefits, but it's a very common Ayurvedic tradition to drink lukewarm water rather than freezing cold water. Which I've always been taught by my parents. My dad actually would put salt and lemon in his morning water. And he's been doing that. He grew up on a farm in Punjab, right? Northern India. Yeah. He's always like drunk that way. He's never had like freezing cold water. Even in the middle of summer, they don't drink that. It's always like lukewarm. So I'll down that. But in my water, I put creatine in. So I'm at 15 grams of creatine at the moment.
And you put that all in that one first glass of water
actually,
a day,
what happened,
so you don't spread it?
No. I literally just drink it all, because I don't have any GI side effects. I know certain people do, and the advice would be to split it out throughout the day. So you can do 5, 5, and 5, or like 7.5, 7.5, or depending on what your dose of creatine is. But what I would do, I would drink half that water. So I have like a 500 ml glass jar that I use, and it's literally like an old like kimchi jar or something. My wife finds it really annoying that I have all these kimchi jars that I just basically use my water, but it's like perfectly 500 mils. So I'll drink half of that, and then the last half, because I really don't like the taste of my chalky creatine, I just whack the 15 grams and then I just shoot it straight down, because no one wants to enjoy creatine.
And what else are you putting in it then? Do you put any electrolytes in, or a pinch of salt or anything?
I'll do electrolytes when I'm training that day. So particularly if I'm doing like a zone 2 workout. So my zone 2 workout at the moment is either steady state on a bike, stationary bike, or it's uphill on a treadmill at like 5.5 kilometers an hour at like an 8% gradient. And I have one of those chest straps, so I can make sure that my heart rate is between 150 and 120. And I can maintain that steady. We don't all have the luxury of living in Portugal where I can do this outside. I have to go to a stinky gym that I pay 20 quid a month for, like the cheapest gym I could find local to me, that's like 4-minute drive away. And so that's what
and how many days a week are you doing that in the morning then? So how many days?
I'd be lucky if I get it once a week, but I should be doing it twice a week. But before pre-kid, pre-Raphael, twice a week. Now with Raphael, lucky if I do it once a week. So that's when I do my electrolytes.
But otherwise, you don't add any electrolytes or any salt. I mean, because you hear all these horror stories about how water just doesn't hydrate us these days because it's lost its minerals, etc. So you're not really buying into that?
Not really, because like I'm getting so many other minerals in my whole food diet, right? So I'm getting magnesium in my greens. I'm getting like a ton of B vitamins. I have other supplements I take. I've got my fish oil. So I take 2.5 grams of fish oil every day now, which is quite a high dose. You've got to take 4 capsules of a particular fish oil that I like. I'm not affiliated with the company, but I use Bear Biology. I just like the fact that they, lab test it. We're all about lab testing. So they lab test.
Why 2.5 grams of fish oil? That sounds like loads. So is there some particular research that says 2.5 grams?
So for the cardiovascular benefits and the anti-inflammatory benefits, we're looking at a 2.5 gram dose of EPA and DHA. You can get it from algae, but it's even more expensive to get it from algae. So this is from small fish, mackerel, sardine, herring, and a concentrated oil that they purity test. So So looking at the research, and because I'm in the business of like protecting my heart, that was my origin story, right? Like I had a heart condition, I had atrial fibrillation, hence why I'm doing everything to support my heart. I take a CoQ10 for that reason as well, Ubiquinone. I use Farmanord because I quite like that brand as well. And that's just like a relatively normal dose. I forget the dose now, but it's
so it's not necessarily something that you'd recommend for everyone to take 2.5 grams. So listeners shouldn't race away and get high dose omega-3.
Honestly, I don't think there's much downside of taking a high dose omega-3. I think most people are underdosing omega-3. Actually, I think we could all do with more. But what I would do, and this is an important caveat, is check your omega-3 index level. So mine was sub 8% before I started taking 2.5. Now it's in the 10.5, 11% range, which is exactly where I want it to be. This is a blood test that you can do very easily. You get it sent in the mail, and it's just like a finger prick test. And I think Bill Harris is owner of the company, and he's like the omega-3 guy who's done a lot of this research. So
and what about if you like, so I have so where I live in Portugal, they love their tinned fish. And you walk into the supermarket here and there's like hundreds of different types of tinned fish. All sorts of different fish, from mackerel to patingas, whatever they are, horse mackerel, sardines, the whole lot. So most lunchtimes I have a really quick lunch and I have some salad and I'll have a tin of some kind of fish here. So if you're having like a tinned fish, like, are you getting enough omega-3s to not need to take a supplement, or should I be supplementing on top of that?
It's a really important question. I think it really depends on the type of fish that you're consuming, where that fish has been sourced from, and the quantity of fish that you're actually consuming every day. We did some back of the envelope calculations when I was doing my nutritional medicine masters, and we realized that you'd have to consume quite a bit of fish to get the omega-3, even in oily fish like salmon and mackerel and herring. You'd have to be like eating this pretty much twice a day. So I'm like you. I love tin fish. I love, like, we get mackerel, we get sardines from our fishmonger. I'm trying to eat as much fish as possible. It's still really rich source of my diet, but despite that, my omega-3 index was still low. So for me, it was like, okay, now pragmatic decision. Let's go for a high dose and let's see if I can push it up. And that's how I've been able to do it. There are some interactions with fish oil and certain medications like blood thinners. So that is something that people need to be aware of. But for the majority of people, we don't have enough omega-3 in our diet.
Okay, cool. Right, before we go too far down the omega-3.
Well, this is interesting, though, right? Because I have these conversations with my mates all the time, and they're always like trying to copy my supplement stack. And I'm like, look, this works for me because I've done the research and I've looked at my bloods. Like, everyone should do. You should do. I'm going to do this blood test. I want to see what yours is like.
So on that point, you said 15 grams of creatine. Is there, in my head, because I'm in the kind of that world, all of the content I get served all the time is around the health benefits of creatine. So maybe like just in but not every listener is gonna be fed with the same information as me. So maybe in a couple of sentences, like why do you take creatine? And then is 15 grams the optimal dose for everybody? I take like 6 grams a day.
So let's take a step back. So creatine is a really important molecule that essentially helps recycling of your energy currency in your cells. So that's ATP. So it's involved in the reprocessing of this, which is, every cell in your body requires this energy currency. We naturally produce creatine in our body. It's around 1 to 2 grams per day. And we tend to get some creatine in food. We get that in animal-based food. So if you're eating red meat and all that kind of stuff, you're probably getting another 1 to 2 grams. What the research shows is that getting an extra 5 grams helps with muscle recovery, performance, energy recycling, all these different benefits. And this is why it's been such a well-studied and popular supplement in the bodybuilding industry and the sort of strength industry, athletes. But what we're now realizing is that it's not just about strength. It's about endurance. It's about improving your muscle health as you age. And the benefits appear to accrue beyond 10 and 15 grams, and there might be even some additional benefits at the 15 gram plus dose for your brain. This is early research. The established benefits are muscle health. And the reason why I'm personally looking at 15 grams, going back to my son, I'm
for the muscle benefit. Because you want to be hench.
I want to be hench so I can pick him up. No, it's for those brain health benefits because I'm sleep deprived. And if I can improve the bioenergetics of my brain cells, I'm going to take that bet all day long, particularly with such a safe supplement. So
I've heard about professional boxers and rugby players who are taking high doses of creatine just to protect their brain. Like anyone who's involved in sports where they're getting a lot of head impact, creatine is really good for protecting the brain. I've also heard that if you're taking around 5 grams a day, it's enough to saturate your muscles. 10 grams, you're starting to get some into your bones, and then maybe the 15 to 20 gram range, it's starting to cross the blood-brain barrier and get into the brain. Is that kind of
That's the thinking, and I think it would also depend on like how much muscle bulk you have. So for certain people to push beyond that threshold, it might take 20 grams, to allow your muscles to be saturated such that you can go to your brain. So I think it's really individual, and the science around brain health is early, but I'm willing to take that bet based on the safety profile of the product.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around for so long, creatine.
Yeah.
Like, there's been, it's up there with coffee and caffeine as one of the most studied chemicals or compounds out there. So we know it's safe. So,
this is one of the reasons why I'm like so bullish on like daily staples, just optimized. So I use a brand of creatine monophosphate that's like purity tested, coffee, purity tested, something I take every single day, fish oil, purity tested. Like, I think people really need to get into this mindset of like, okay, if I'm taking something every single day, if I'm doing something every single day, I want it to be the highest quality rather than me like, experimenting with random supplements like alpha PC or whatever, and all these different things. Like just upgrade your staples. I mean,
there's a whole scandal a few weeks ago around creatine gummies. Someone tested them and found that they just literally had no creatine in. So just get the standard form.
We made our own creatine gummies in the doctor's kitchen just to demonstrate how chalky a creatine gummy should taste if it's got anywhere near 3.5 grams. And the gummies that you buy online, they just taste like gummy bears. And the reason why is because there's no creatine in it. So it's like, it's just that there is no like, there's always going to be a trade-off. It's not going to taste like a gummy. It's going to taste like sandy gummies. That's how it should taste.
I mean, we're not children. We don't need everything in gummies. Like, seriously. Okay, cool. So going back to mornings. So fasting. So do you do any intermittent fasting? So you mentioned earlier that you skip breakfast a couple of times. What's your thinking on fasting? And also, do you do any longer fasts as well? Like, it's something.
So I tend to practice time restricted eating or time restricted feeding. So I don't have my breakfast before 9:30 a.m. most days. So I'll drive to the studio and I have it here. I might have a coffee or something that won't spike my blood sugar levels in the morning, but otherwise it's just hydration. And that works really well for me because that basically enables me to eat in a rough 10-hour window, for which there are some studies that demonstrate benefit. I haven't done a longer fast. It's been on my list of things to do, but I don't want to add any extra stress during this year. Because everything is a stressor. Stress isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like exercise is a stressor, running a business is a stressor. I think it's how you approach it, but I don't want to compound additional stressors at this point in my life. So in the next year or so, when hopefully, I mean, you'll be able to tell me my thinking here is wrong, but when things get easier,
until number 2 comes along,
when things get,
it magnifies.
It might be a little bit easier. When things get easier, I want to experiment with a 24-hour fast and then see how I feel. And I want to do it properly. I want to do it with a keto monitor to see if I push into ketosis within that 24 hours or whether I need to do something a little bit more, like take exogenous ketones. I want to do a glucose monitor. I've actually got one on right now. That's
Okay.
I do it once a year, like for 2 weeks, just to see like how I'm responding to my general diet, and I'm responding really well actually this time. And I also, if I'm going to be doing it regularly, I'd probably want to make sure that it's not impacting my muscle mass. So every year I do a DEXA scan to make sure my body composition is on point. And if I'm going to do like a regular fast every month, let's say for 24 hours, I want to make sure that I'm not losing muscle bulk anywhere on my body, because that's not, that's not a great stat for longevity.
I meet a lot of people over here who do long, like 5-day water fast and things.
Oh, wow.
I just feel like life's too short to I don't know. I mean, there's probably some health benefits. I feel like you get a lot of benefit from the time restricted eating. I think the 10-hour eating window is perfect. I finish dinner by around 6:30 each day, and then I'll have breakfast around 7:30. So I get 40 an hour overnight fast. And it's been one of the biggest changes for me, because I go to sleep with a totally empty stomach. Like, I used to go to sleep and my stomach I'd be lying there, and my stomach would be gurgling while I'm trying to get to sleep. And now I go to sleep and you have such a restful sleep. Yeah. And I feel like your stomach your stomach just needs that time to repair, recover. So it's been one of the biggest changes for me and Kirsty. And actually Kirsty said that, she feels like she's lost a lot of weight since doing it as well. So in terms of weight, for people who are trying to lose weight, I'd say it's probably one of the easiest hacks that they just 100%. Don't consider.
Yeah. If I mean, the first thing I would do as a GP when I was practicing would, if people were like looking to improve their weight, I'd be like, don't change what you're eating whatsoever. Just change when you eat. That's all I'm asking you to do. It's literally like step one. Let's try and focus the time when you're eating, giving your gut a rest. And there are also some pragmatic benefits, like you're less likely to snack in front of the TV if you know that you've got a hard cut off at 8 p.m. And the sleep benefits are incredible, because there are studies that show this. Like, there was a study I was reading the other day about how a high carb meal, even if it was higher GI, if it was 4 hours before bedtime, that actually led to an improvement in sleep quality compared to the low GI as well. So there is some scanty benefit of like having most of your carbs as your evening meal, but as long as it's 4 hours before your bedtime. Anecdotally, like when I have an early meal, I don't drink alcohol at all. My sleep scores are like through the roof. I feel a lot more refreshed the next day. And by improving your sleep, you will improve the ratio of your leptin and ghrelin, which are your hunger hormones. Ghrelin leads you to be hungrier, and leptin is your satiety hormone. And so those are in the right ratio. So you're less likely to overconsume salty, sugary foods the next day. And that is a virtuous cycle.
Yeah, interesting. No, and on a similar note, like I was reading something yesterday about whether people are naturally morning people or evening people, like night owls versus morning people. And there's been some research recently around the fact that people who are morning people live longer. You have a 10% reduced risk of dying early if you're a morning person. But then they were like, actually, the researchers are saying, actually, if you're a night owl, that might be because if you're a night owl, you're more likely to snack later on at night and have an unhealthier kind of eating habits because you're eating just before bed. Yeah. So actually, maybe it's not as clear cut as some might think.
Yeah, this research is so funny because we always discuss this, right? Like, there's so many confounders. Like, someone who is a night owl might not be a night owl out of choice. It might be because they're doing shift work. And if you're a shift worker, you've got a lower chance of, you got a lower life expectancy anyway, which is why I got out of the shift working game as soon as I could as an A&E doc. And there are so many issues. It's like one of my bugbears with the whole red meat gives you cancer stuff. And it's, when you dive into the research, you realize the signal's not that strong that red meat is actually causative of cancer, and B, the number of confounders in these research studies, even if there isn't an increase of 18% for people who eat more than 700 grams of red meat per week, which is more than what I'd recommend anyway. Like, the number of confounders there are, like, people who eat more red meat tend to have lower income, more like to smoke, less like to exercise, like all these different things. So look at these big research studies.
But also, it's the type of red meat. So I follow this one quite carefully because I eat red meat, probably maybe 3 times a week. And I do follow the research on it quite closely, and it does seem that the type of red meat is so important. And it seems that if it's processed red meat like ham and bacon and these kind of things, then I think it could be. It seems to me anyway that it's those that are giving red meat the bad reputation.
Yeah.
And if you're eating like a grass-fed steak, then I don't think the association's there.
Yeah, so there's still an association, but it's strong for process. So when we looked at this recently, because we did a YouTube video on things I've changed my mind on, and one of them is red meat. The association with processed meat is 30%. So you have a 30% higher risk of colon cancer and all-cause mortality, I believe. I'm probably quoting a little bit off here. And unprocessed red meat is 18%. But even within unprocessed red meat, you've got so much variety. You've got like a lean venison, which is like next to no fat in, and you've got a ribeye or a ragu, which is like 15 grams of saturated fat. So how on earth can you pass those two things as the same category? It doesn't make any sense. So like even if there is,
and also it's in the also it's in the context of your broader diet as well.
Exactly.
So, how it impacts you with your predominantly plant-based diet. So actually, maybe this is a good point to say, what is your diet? What's your general diet? So you said you have red meat maybe once or twice a week.
I probably have it twice a week actually at the moment, because it's venison season right now. Venison's like one of my favorite products, and it's as ethical as it can be. It's like wild meat that's shot, and it has to be shot and killed instantly, otherwise it spoils the product. And it's they literally run wild, and if you have to cull them, so we have to consume them, otherwise it just goes to waste. So I'm a really big fan of lean red meat of loads of different sources. So I have about red meat twice a week now, at least twice a week. I have loads of tofu and tempeh. I'm probably the only red meat advocate that also loves tofu and tempeh, but I love them both. And we have loads of fish, like loads of oily fish, small fish, all that kind of stuff. But my breakfast is really savory. So at the moment, I'm going through an overnight oats phase because of just convenience. So but my overnight oats is very little oats. So it's like a quarter oats, a quarter flaxseed that's milled, a quarter milled chia, and then another quarter as like a mixture of nuts or seeds. And then I'll add some raisins in there, some raw cacao, mix it all up with either water or like a milk. And then add a little bit of raw honey, and that's literally my breakfast. And
sounds delicious.
Yeah, and I did the math on it with the notification app, and it's got 30 grams of protein in with no protein powders.
So you're not bought into the whole eggs thing then? So
I like eggs. I like eggs.
So So do you mix it up and have eggs sometimes as well?
Yeah,
or do you
definitely. Yeah. I'll have eggs I probably have 7 to 8 eggs a week.
A day. You hear of so many people who is it Eddie Abu who has 9 eggs every breakfast?
I'd love to know what his cholesterol ratios are. I'd love to know, because the thinking around eggs, right, is that most of your dietary cholesterol is expelled, but we still do absorb around 10 to 15%. So the amount of cholesterol that we're absorbing is minimal. But if you're having eight eggs a day, that's a lot of cholesterol that you're potentially reabsorbing into your system. So I monitor my cholesterol levels twice a year. I'm really again heart issues in my family, personal heart history issue. So I'm really hot on cholesterol containing foods. And also what could be pushing it up, like saturated fat and all the rest of it. So I'm not a fan of eat as many eggs as you like, but I think 7 to 8 eggs a week is a nice middle ground for most people. How many eggs are you having? Hold on. I'm not going to get. How many eggs are you having?
I have 3 eggs every single day.
Oh, nice.
Fail. So it's my so I tried the whole, when my health was bad, I basically changed my diet so often. And I tried smoothies for breakfast. I tried oats for breakfast and porridge for breakfast. But I actually settled on that the thing that just makes me feel the best is 3 eggs. And I stir fry the eggs in a whole load of spices. So I've got 30 or 40 different Indian and Asian spices in the cupboard. Every morning I'll fry 3 eggs. in butter with a mix of spices and a different mix every day. So every day it tastes different.
Yeah.
And every day I'll chop in fresh garlic, fresh turmeric root, fresh ginger every day with the eggs. And it's like it's probably one of the healthiest, most balanced breakfasts in that way.
And this is the thing, like you're like an endurance athlete, right? So you figured out that works best for you, and you need that source of like protein and fat to fuel you and for your day. For me, I need like a little bit more of a carbo-rich diet.
Well, I do have a big wedge of sourdough with it.
Oh, there you go.
So, there you go. So I'm getting that.
Yeah. So it's like you just got to figure out what works for you, which is why these conversations about rituals are so fun.
Totally. Okay, and then in terms of like the other morning rituals, so things, do you do anything like, trying to walk out and get some grounding in, get early morning sunlight, any gratitude or journaling? So like, what's the rest of your mornings look
So I have to take my dog out in the morning, little Nutmeg, she's a Cavapoo. So that gets me out pretty much first thing because she needs to go to the bathroom. In the summer, I'll go out in a little garden barefoot because I love the feeling of the grass on my feet. I sort of like think to myself, what is the energy transfer going on between my body and the ground? And I had this conversation with Drew Ramsey, who's a psychiatrist, talking about grounding and how there's like early research looking at how this can lead to calmness and feelings of like reductions in stress and all the rest of it. So I'm sort of like leaning into that a lot more. I'm
totally with you.
Yeah.
Agreed. Totally.
I love it. I mean, and even if it like there isn't clear evidence for it, I just like the feeling of it. So I'll go out and just getting that morning light, even if it's like, it's great at the moment here in the UK, obviously not in Portugal, I'm assuming. But
we have a funny one here where for the last 3 years we've lived in a flat. So we've been desperate. We've had no outside space. We've had a little balcony for 3 years, we've been desperate to get out of this flat. And I'm like, right, I miss my, when we lived in London, we had a tiny garden, like it was the smallest garden, but at least I had grass. I had grass, had a few bushes and shrubs and things. And I was like, right, I need to get out of this flat and I need to get a garden. And now we've moved into this, getting rental for 6 months, but it's like this little place. There's a little grassy garden, but it's, we pay a condo fee. And it includes a gardener and sprinklers. And every morning the sprinklers turn on the grass in the morning. So by the time I wake up, the garden's like this big soggy sponge. And I would just walk on the grass and I'm like squelching through it. So it's kind of, I've got the grass, I can look at it. It's beautiful in all of its glory, but I can't walk on it in the mornings. So
yeah. I mean, mate, just get out there, just bring yourself a towel, wipe yourself down afterwards.
Just jump in it.
The other thing about my walk with my dog is it's a moment where I don't have my phone. I don't actually look at my phone for the first hour in the morning. I have it on airplane mode overnight because I know as soon as I turn it off, I'm going to get a flurry of messages from people around the world. Probably a couple of voice notes from you, probably some mates in Australia, some friends in America. Like I know I'm just going to get and that it's not derailing, but it does skew my focus. And my focus right then is like, getting outside, being at one with my dog, chatting to my wife in the morning, getting Raphael up, all that kind of stuff. Like that's what I want to focus on because those moments are precious and I don't want to ever forget those bits. So that's really important.
Something I read something recently that Jeff Bezos, I don't know if he's a big advocate of for the first hour of the day, just don't turn on your phone, your laptop or anything and let your brain just wander creatively for the first hour of the day.
Absolutely.
Like he's a big advocate.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed whenever I see you in person and whenever I give you a big hug is how rippling the muscles are in your back. So I feel like you do work out. I've never asked you about what your workout routine is before. So we know you do cardio once or twice a week. So what's the gym routine? Do you do it at home, in the gym? How often?
That's very kind of you to say. Basically now, so post Raphael being born era, it's wherever I can do it. So I'm relying on a lot of home HIIT workouts at the moment. I'll literally just make up a routine. I'll be like, okay, great. Got my weight vest on. That's 8K. I'm going to do 150 press ups, each like broken down into like 10. And then I'm going to do like, I'm going to pass some air squats in that. Some, I don't know what you call them, but so when you get on the floor and then you kick your leg through your hands or whatever, like, so you're in like a all four position. I'll just make up stuff like that at home. If I've got time, I'll go to the gym and I'll split up my sessions into legs and upper body and full body. Lower body, hip thrust and squats. Those are my two things. And I'll literally just spend an entire session just doing those two things back to back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like I'll literally just do
back
that.
to back. So you'll do one, then the next, then one, then, and how many sets of each?
Like 8. So
8 sets of each.
8 sets of each,
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
and
okay.
each being like 6 to 8 reps.
Wow,
So
okay.
yeah, and because I know the exercise that I'm doing is a compound exercise. So rather than like running around the gym trying to find all these different machines, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna, because I've just got to focus right now. I've only got like 45 minutes if I can get lucky to go.
And could you not do them at home? Squats and squats with a barbell, or
I don't have any space. I live in a flat, so I don't have any space for a barbell. We are brimming with like kids' toys and high chairs, and like, you know, he's just turned 1, so we've got a bike. The kid can just about walk, let alone jump on a bike. We have it, you know. It's just, there's so much shit in our house, so I can't deal with it. So yeah, and I'll do that. And then the other thing I've been working on is Murph training. So I think I talked to you about this. So Murph training is when it's basically a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 press-ups, 300 air squats, and then another mile run. And my aim is to do that under 40 minutes. Oh, and it's with an 8 kg weight vest as well. So I can currently do it in 46 minutes, and I want to try and get it under 40. But it's kind of like it's like HIIT training basically. It's just you're just constant. So
interesting. I feel like we need to put that in our email newsletter. That's honestly, I feel like that's a good one.
It's really good. It's like, I mean, I've worked up to it, so I couldn't do like 100 pull-ups all in one go. You break it down into like 10s or 5s or whatever. And the way I'm doing it isn't strict. So it's a CrossFit workout. And the way they do it as part of the CrossFit Games, you do 100 pull-ups, but you can't superset that with anything else. I'm allowing myself to superset it. So I'll do like 5 pull-ups, 10 press-ups, 15 air squats, 5 pull-ups, 10. Just do that basically 20 times. And then, move on to the mile run.
And how many times are you doing that a week?
On a good month, I'll do that twice as part of my training. And then I'll put that as part of my other work.
Twice in the month?
Yeah, twice in the month. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you'll time yourself and you'll try and beat your time.
Yeah. But I'm doing it in a gym as well. So like I have to like make sure I go early enough such that the chin-up bar is like available and Yeah. And I look like a weirdo with my weight vest as well, but I'm just leaning into it. You know, you got to do what you got to do to like maintain your fitness. And I turned 40 this year, so I want to be as fit as I can.
I remember I turned 40 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think it was a big turning point for me because I was like, I'm 40. A lot of people, you hit these milestone decades and you kind of, a lot of people feel maybe a bit like depressed about it. And they're like, oh God, I'm 40. I can't believe I'm turning 50 or whatever. But then actually, like, I feel like this is the age now where if you play your cards right and you do stuff like this and you take everything we've discussed today seriously, like there's no reason we shouldn't have another 40 years left of being really fit and being able to still climb mountains and still run, you know, decent distances. And I think, and like 40, if you think I've been on Earth for 40 years or 42 years and I could have the same again on Earth, like that's a pretty, like the same amount of time again, doing as much cool stuff as I've done already. That's a pretty exciting concept. So that for me is worth totally all of the effort that we put into this.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And I think about those 40 years that we've both had, and like the first 10 years, I don't remember. The second 10 years, like I was so unsure of myself. I had no confidence. I was not a popular kid at school. I was just like a bookworm trying to figure out how to get into med school. But my 20s and 30s were like incredible. I loved it. And I'm still loving it right now. So if I can do my 20s and 30s again, twice, 3 times, brilliant. Happy days. That's amazing.
A good point, actually. Yeah. That is a good point. So our adult life, twice of that, 2 of them again.
Yeah.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah, that's
okay,
amazing.
Cool. Okay, I feel like we need to mention coffee. So
Yeah.
do you since this is a coffee but it's not a coffee podcast, but it's brought to you by a coffee company. Coffee. So when do you have your first coffee of the day? Do you wait an hour and a half? Like, do you believe in that? Do you have it on an empty stomach or after breakfast?
I personally do delay my coffee because first thing in the morning, I don't want anything that's gonna like hydrate me. Dehydrate me. I'm already having an increase in my cortisol level and my glucose level as well. And I want to be in a nice setting where I can actually enjoy my coffee and like savor every sip. So that the set and setting, like this is all really, really important for like when I love to have my and this is actually my first one that I'm having right now. So when we start at 11 a.m. So this is my first coffee is at 11 a.m. and this will be my only coffee. I've also been recently on a coffee fast as well. So every year, 30 days, I drink decaf. So our decaf is amazing, obviously. I'll drink decaf for that. And then when I have my caffeinated drink for the first time after 30 days, my tolerance is so low. Like I have to like split it into one shot, and this has only got one shot in today because it's like it's not overwhelming. It's just like I just feel so productive.
Really?
And I just want to do like so many different things. Like it's like some people say they get like anxiety when they drink. Obviously, like that does not happen to me, but it's kind of like I just feel like I want to do like 1,000,001 things all at once. So that's why I got to titrate it.
I mean, you do have 1,000,001 things to do every day with about your 15 businesses and family and team and everything. So maybe just embrace it.
Yeah, just embracing it. But so I tend to delay my coffee. I do it in like the right setting or whatever, and I drink my coffee black as well. So just with a little bit of hot water, that's exactly how I love to drink it. And it's usually like a double shot.
And do you think other people listening should be delaying their coffee? Or
it's a good question.
Is it such a big issue?
So Rochelle believes that she can't, my wife, she believes she can't function without her coffee first thing in the morning. Yeah.
First thing.
And I'm like, look, Rochelle, it's psychological. Like if I was to make you a decaf, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And so I think it's more of a psychological thing rather than, whether people should or not, I don't know. I think it depends on I think it's more about the mindset you're bringing to when you consume your coffee, because it's a stimulant, it's a psychoactive substance. We should treat it with respect. We should drink the best, and we should also think about how and what state we're consuming it in. So as long as that's dialed in, I don't really mind when you choose to consume it. I don't think we need to be rigid about it. That's my personal opinion.
I actually, so I get up at 6 and then I have my first coffee around 8:30.
Okay.
And the only reason is because the rest of the house isn't awake and we live in quite a small place. So if I start grinding beans at 6:30, I'll wake the house up. So the state I will be drinking my coffee in will be under fire and getting shouted at by everybody for waking them up. So the most relaxful time for me to drink my coffee is to wait for the house to wake up.
Yeah.
8:30. Okay, and so you don't add anything to it, you drink it black. Do you ever add any, collagen? So I often quite like to add, one of my coffees every day, I'll add collagen, about 20 grams of collagen to it.
Yeah.
So sometimes some chocolate, whisk it up. But do you add anything to your coffee? Or
I don't. I'm
a
purist. I really like to taste all the flavor, the bitter notes, the sweet notes in my coffee, and I don't want to adulterate it with anything else. The way I would take collagen is with my cacao powder. So I drink a raw cacao powder generally in the afternoons, and I make it into like this hot chocolate drink because I know I can't have caffeine after 12 p.m. generally. So I'll have raw cacao, which has got a minimal amount of caffeine in, collagen, and a bit of raw honey, and like that is like my afternoon treat. Sometimes I use a decaf as well. I know you do a half calf, right?
Sometimes, but not really, not that often. Sometimes I do. I've got really into making cold brew recently.
Cold brew
the last
amazing.
6 months, and I'll always make that half calf for some reason. I feel like because for me, cold brew substitute one of my regular hot coffees. But if I'm adding in an extra cup of coffee into the day, I don't want a whole full cup of caffeinated coffee, so I'll make it half caff.
But is it correct me if I'm wrong, isn't cold brew like even more concentrated in caffeine, so you're getting quite a hit in the same size cup?
Yeah, it is, but I don't have the same size cup. I don't have like a mug this big of.
See, I would with cold brew. Like when I was in LA, cold brew is everywhere in LA, and the flavor's incredible. And I would just have it black, and I would realize I was consuming so much caffeine.
Yeah, it's seriously strong. It's also a lot easier on your stomach, cold brew as well.
Oh, so is it?
Kind of, so you probably could drink more of it because it's easier to drink.
I love it. Yeah, it's so good.
Okay, cool. So you mentioned you stopped drinking coffee around 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
And presumably to help your sleep in the evening. One last thing I would love to ask you about is your bedtime routine, because I feel like personally I've got most of my day dialed in. Like I do everything else pretty well. Yeah. But my sleep is still pretty erratic. So what's your bedtime routine?
My bedtime routine is in need of recovery right now, like resuscitation. It is so bad. And I only have myself to blame as well. I can't blame it on my son. I can't blame it on work. It's but there's a couple of things that I've been optimizing. So it's getting dinner in as early as possible. So we put our son down at like 6:30 p.m. Usually goes down by 7. If dinner isn't ready, that means like even with my sort of skill set as like a quick cook, like I can get dinner on the table 7:30. So half an hour, like literally from the moment I turn on the pan and like start chopping vegetables and all the rest of it to like plate on the table eating. And that is too late. We should be eating at like 6:30 ideally, because that, from my little experimentation with my Oura ring, that leads to the best sleep. So that's the first thing. Early dinner. Second thing, no digital devices, no TV, no laptop use in the evenings. I'm terrible at that. Sometimes I'm like,
for how long?
Like 2 hours before bed.
Really? 2 hours?
Yeah, at least 2 hours, dude, honestly. And
That's so disciplined.
I know, but I'm not. That's the thing. Like I know this is what works, but I don't action it. So I need to do that. And the third thing is reading before bed, game changer. Like just reading something completely unrelated to my work. So nothing nutrition related. Usually something like psychological. I love reading James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. It's a beautiful book. It's like 90 pages. I read that a couple of times a year. And then I'm currently reading 48 Laws of Power, which is a devious book. It's so interesting. Yeah. If you haven't read it, honestly, it's amazing. Robert Greene.
What's it about?
It's so Robert Greene wrote this book like 20 years ago. And it's, I think this year is the most number of sales he's ever made in the book. It's just one of these books that just never goes away. It's constantly in the bestseller list. And it's each law is around like how power was consolidated in different eras. He talks about the Han Dynasty, the Napoleonic era, Babylonian time, like all these different times. And it's like how people in a very devious way manipulate people to sort of like, grab the crown or whatever it might be. And it's just full of stories, and it's just it's really interesting.
I feel like I've got my bedtime reading wrong. The last few weeks I've been trying this whole bedtime reading thing, but the book I bought was the CMO of Meta has released the book. He's published his own book, so I'm reading this book by the CMO of Meta, which is all about ads and ad strategy, and I think it's the wrong book to read before bed.
Don't read that before bed, dude. That's literally your full day. Like
the worst thing. That's the worst book.
No,
Okay, and red lights. Do you do any of that?
Oh
red lights
no, my wife's really into that. So I probably get some like some red light therapy hit my way.
We've just bought a red bulb, and we've got 2 bedside lamps, and Kirsty's got the red bulb on her side and her lamp. And then in my lamp, because I can't read, I've got a normal bulb. Yeah. So we've got this kind of hybrid philosophy of like half of the room is red, half of the room is like white light.
Actually, interestingly, so we had our house tested by a company called Lighthouse or Lightroom, something with light in it. Lightwork.
Okay.
And they came to the house. They tested every light bulb. They looked at EMF sources. They looked at mold, air quality, like all these different things. And they came up with recommendations and products to buy and all this kind of stuff. So the one thing they said is like, you got to use incandescent light bulbs because there's a lot of flicker in your room and that's like stimulating in the night. So we switched all of our bulbs to just simple, like cheap incandescent bulbs. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like placebo or whatever, but that's definitely created a more relaxing environment in our bedroom. And I would recommend people like lean into that because there is a lot about light and stimulation.
So we're gonna wrap up the podcast now. So we end every podcast with the same 3 questions. So the first question, what's one habit that you're trying to stop?
Going to bed too late and watching TV too late and watching YouTube. There's so many things I'm trying to stop, man.
So many things. Okay, cool. What's the most overrated piece of health advice?
That's a really good question. Overrated.
I mean, there's so much, but
there's so much overrated health advice. I think it's like even though I enjoy it and I do all these things myself, I think it's like ice baths and like unnecessary supplements, because these aren't going to give you like the 5 or 10x gains. It's going to be the getting the essentials right: sleep, nutrition, movement, psychological and stress improvement, all these different things, like sense of purpose. That's what we should be over-indexing in, but we tend to major in the minors. So there's so many things, but ice bathing and like micronutrient optimizing through individual vitamins and supplements, I just think is really overrated.
I feel like go back 10, 20 years and everyone looked to their doctors for like a pill or a prescription to solve all of their issues. Then, over the last 10 years, people have switched that to a supplement and everyone wants a supplement to fix their issues. And then actually you could argue that in the last few years, things like ice baths have come along, and maybe they're even in some way the new supplement, which is the new, everyone is having an ice bath and expecting that to turn their health around. So the last question, what one habit do you think those listening should add to their daily life?
That's a really good question.
There's one thing that's a game changer that people probably aren't doing that they should add to their daily life.
One thing that I don't think we've touched on, but it's quite near and dear to me is, and I'll stick to the nutrition element because there's so many different things we could say about like movement, exercise, having a formal routine. Like these are all anti-inflammatory and probably one of the best things that you can do. If there's one thing, it's probably exercise, but I'll stick to my nutrition field. It's optimizing for protein. So I think the recommended daily allowances for protein are set way too low. And most people aren't being taught about good quality protein sources that also look after their fiber requirements as well. My perspective is you can have your cake and eat it. You should be able to eat a high protein quality diet with a high fiber diet, eating tons of plants and vegetables. But I think the one thing I would say is know what your number is. Know how much protein you should be consuming every single day. I would say the vast majority of people would have no clue how much they should be consuming and where they can get those quality protein sources from. So that's one piece of advice I would give. Know how much protein you should be consuming every day and know where you can get your protein in every single day.
It's interesting because you just see protein. I feel like, protein's had this, you see protein in everything these days, from breakfast cereals to like everything. And there's a bit of me that's like, is it just a fad, or is it just everyone's jumping on it? But like, is it as important? But clearly it is.
Yeah. It's definitely important, but it's sort of fallen into this marketing tornado where the food manufacturers have realized, everyone's talking about protein. Everyone thinks they need more protein. Let's make it as convenient as possible for them. Let's trick them into thinking if they eat our high protein cereal or buy our high protein shake or, have this high protein candy bar, that it's going to be better for them. Whereas that's just like completely false. You want to be optimizing your sources from whole foods, things that we've talked about today: tofu, tempeh, lean red meats, poultry, fish, nut seeds, and then complement it with like high fiber items, beans, lentils, if you can tolerate those, fruits, vegetables. Like it's basically what we were talking about, like optimizing the basics. But yeah, like don't fall prey to the protein marketing, but recognize that protein is super important and most people are under consuming.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rupy. It's been amazing having you on the podcast.
My pleasure, man. It's fun.
Yeah. It's been fun being on the other side of it. I've been on your podcast twice, so it's good to be on the other side.
Definitely.
All right, cheers, dude.
Cheers, man.
Thanks so much for listening. Really hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Let us know how you get on. Let us know if you try any of these new habits that Rupy's recommended. And yeah, we'll be back next week for another episode.